You can't just push a button and say, okay, now then I love sales. It is oftentimes deeply rooted. There are some secrets to really getting rid of that and getting into the flow state.
What if the key to unlocking your full potential isn't about adding more, but revealing what's already there? In each episode of Magnificence, host Patricia Lindner guides you to reveal your natural brilliance, remove what's been stopping you, and reconnect to your authentic power. Join us as we explore how to access the magnificence that lives within us all.
Hello and welcome to another amazing episode of Magnificence, a new version of Magnificence. And today we are going to talk about sales. And again, I have with me the wonderful Jason Croft, who is supporting me in showing up in a very tangible, practical, helpful way. And I hope that you are totally on fire when we talk about sales today. Jason, welcome.
Yes, glad to be here. I'm excited to talk about this, both from the fact that I love sales, I love business, talking about all this stuff, but also in the context of this show and you and how you help people. I'm excited about it because this is one area where so many of us have these blockages. Even if we like the idea of selling, we think it's that thing out there we have to go do, and we have to, figure out the scripts and the right wording and all of that. And I love what you've been teaching folks, which is this idea of, stop performing sales, stop doing sales and show up differently. Again, back to this idea, you have this within you. So where does that start when someone comes to you and they have this kind of block to like, hey, I've got a business, I need to be making sales, but I just feel stuck with it?
Yeah, I can bluntly say they are totally disconnected from their natural magnetic sales power that everyone has within themselves. And that has many different reasons. And they can really hoard thousands of those sales scripts. I think it is, so don't get me wrong, you can have amazing sales script that help to some extent, but they don't close a deal. They don't really magnetize people and attract people to what you're offering. Oftentimes it is this, maybe you can feel it as an energy inside your body when someone signed up for a conversation and wants to learn more about your services, and then you get those sweaty palms and you have this knot in your stomach because you want to perform, you want to be good, and then it comes to this, oh, what if I'm not good enough? What if this no is no? You are bad at what you do. And then there is this, people oftentimes personify themselves with their services, and a no to their service feels like a personal no. They really take it very personal. And that adds to this internal false narrative that they might have had since their very early age. You said in another conversation, maybe 7, maybe 3, maybe 4, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm chosen lost. When it came to picking someone for playing with each other, and now they get this confirmation and validation, oh, I'm not the chosen one. They don't want my services. They don't want me. That could be one internal blockage that shows up, and they are not aware of that. And it reminds me of someone I worked with, and not until we worked together, he figured out, oh, I identify myself with my services, and that's why it is so hard, because I'm so nervous when it comes to having this conversation, because it's this personal no, and it's not, oh, they dislike my services or they are not the right client. So, and this story can really be very harming for a person.
That's a key aspect, and it really helped me when I got that insight and was able to disconnect what I'm doing, what I'm offering with me as a person, right? I think I'm still working on it, right? Because it's so easy for us as solopreneurs, especially. It's one thing if you're the CEO of a corporation and someone doesn't buy the widget from one of your salespeople. There's distance there, you know. But when it's this service I am going to provide personally, it's just easy and natural for us to personalize that and to to have that insight to go, okay, well, if they said no, that's just data, right? Either they're not ready, I didn't present it the right way, I didn't answer the questions that they had, or it's just not a fit, and it's just data on to the next. And that's an important piece to this, because just like you said, with the sales scripts and all that, they they do work when this part that you're talking about is fixed. Is That's not even the right word. Is you get back to that alignment, right?
Yeah, when you are reconnected to this natural power, and that could mean different things for everyone. And that leads me to another interesting aspect. Because oftentimes when you talk about sales, and Jason, you said, I love sales, I love everything around business. Oftentimes people say, oh, no, 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 I'm not a salesperson. I'm not salesy. This is a very bad word. So I'm all about connecting and all about support. I am not someone who sells things. And that is another big blockage to identify with. I'm not a salesperson. That puts some of the energy in the wrong place. And then sales doesn't work.
Oh yeah, because if you're in business, then you have a sales business, or you don't have a
A
business.
hobby.
It's either a good version or a bad one, but it's a sales business.
Yeah.
And I am baffled at people who don't embrace that fact that, hey, you're in the business, no matter what the greater good you want to do with this business, it doesn't survive if there aren't sales, if money doesn't come in. So why does this have to be such a bad word? And you're right. I think it does. Think about anything that you approach. If you've decided that's a bad thing, but now I have to go do that thing, of course you're going to push that away at every opportunity, even if it's at a subconscious level.
Yeah, it's getting rid of this negative connotation in any area, but especially, and in this episode, especially when it comes to sales. And you're so right. You can't just push a button and say, okay, now then I love sales. Um, it is oftentimes deeply rooted why this is so. And especially when it comes to entrepreneurs that are in the spiritual coaching business, I hear that a lot. I do not want to sell because that is nothing that has to do with integrity, and I better trade, or I a next thing comes up. I do not charge anything, or can I charge X amount of money because am I worth it? So another interesting aspect of when it comes to sales, because maybe the sales script worked well, and in the end, there is this even more forming a knot in the stomach phase when it comes to, okay, I totally like what you do. What is the investment? And then it's like, I'm hyperventilating because I can't charge because am I worth it? Again, it's about self-worth. It's about dealing with money blockages. And again, it's not like you can simply say in the next conversation, this is gone. There are some secrets to really getting rid of that and getting into the flow state.
Well, and I know that's what you help your clients with,
Mhm.
and I know everybody is different. That's really the magic too, right? There's a set process that you take everyone through, which we've touched on, but it's also part of that process is intuitively figuring out what that person across from you needs to start.
So first of all, and I love how you talked about that, it's really revealing to them who they are at the core, because oftentimes people can't see that. It's like you can imagine or you can envision that as they are standing in this dark sales cave and they don't see their treasure troves of what is possible for them. They don't see their golden nuggets that they can effectively bring forth in the sales conversation. And that is different. And that is what I love. It's not like a one size fits all approach. It's specifically tailored to them. And we dive deeply and dig deeply into their sales cave. And I shine the light on their treasures. And they can see what is possible. And then oftentimes in this next phase, they feel like, but I can't access that. I'm disconnected. There is something standing in the way. Something is keeping me from really taking that in, those narratives, those conditioning aspects. And then I help them really get rid of what no longer serves them in a very rapid working and sustainable way. And last but not least, to really make this happen and to really empower them to be in there and stand in their magnetic sales power, I reconnect them with their treasures. I really have their back in this last phase so that they can show up in a much different way.
How does somebody even first realize, like if they've listened to this conversation and they want to identify for themselves a little bit if, hey, that's I don't like sales. It's just not for me. Moving on, or if or if there is some kind of block, what could they be looking at in their life to go, oh, there's something that's not even my belief, right? That's something that came from here, or something else that's holding them back to even know if there is kind of a blockage there.
Yeah, oftentimes when they are in a conversation like this, or when the sales conversation is over, the best thing to do is not to really be angry about, oh, it did not work, or be sad or be depressed, but really, I highly recommend um, recording the conversation if the person that is on the call with you allows that, if you want to really figure out what was going on and to connect with this moment that felt awkward, that felt weird, that felt disconnected from this natural flow, and then dig into that. Where do I know that from? Do I have similar experiences in the past? Does this remind me of something? So if someone wants to work on that all by themselves, that could be a nice approach, or just journal about what was going on, what was I feeling in my body, where was it in my body, what did that remind me of, where do I know that from? Um, did someone say something about that? Did someone say, oh, never sell things, because that's like someone going from door to door and knocking at your door and selling you some stuff. The better version is to really have someone guide you. I never ever can come to those deep places that block me. I always ask someone for help, because one can really guide you into a state where you much easier connect with what is going on. And if it could be a visualization, it could be a meditation, it could be a deep exploration, or it could be simply a conversation where someone helps you figure out and acts as a mirror of what is going on. And I oftentimes intuitively know what is going on because I get those insights when a conversation is going on. And I think that is the faster way to get there.
Oh, yeah. And I certainly encourage anyone to reach out to you for that help and that guidance. I do. Obviously, I'm biased here and all of that fun stuff, but I've also spent a lot of time in the past in that loop and that cycle and that trying to figure it out. Even when I was someone who let this idea in, oh, I'm sure there is some kind of blockage, and and you just sit in this space of, well, why? And oh, was it this? And oh, was it that? And spent way too long trying to do that on my own in the past. So, I there is power, and that's a reason the greatest athletes in the world have coaches. There's a reason business leaders have coaches. That outside perspective and guidance in anything you're trying to improve is huge. It's so important to do.
Yeah, and it works fast. And thank you for openly sharing that you have been working on that and you just solved so many blockages and got rid of so many blockages. Same for me. When I think about those conversations several years ago, it was me who had those sweaty palms. It was me who had this knot in her stomach, and who was like, okay, maybe I should stop all of that because I'm not good enough. I totally recall that. That was 6 years ago, 5 years ago, when I discovered, oh, that's what's blocking me. That's what's blocking me. And I had some guidance to really help me get into this flow.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap for folks. Hopefully, both letting in this idea that there is something that they can do to unlock this inside themselves, getting help, starting down that path on their own, maybe getting some help to get all the way through it, but realizing that that's the key before anything else. The different techniques and the different language and the landing pages and the fun, all of that is fantastic once this is figured out.
Yeah, I think that's the foundation, that's the basis, and you can totally build on that once this is resolved, once you are reconnected to those treasures inside of you.
Fantastic. All right, I think that's a wrap, and we will see you all on the next one.
Yes, bye for now.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Magnificence. Remember, your path to success isn't about discovering something new. It's about revealing the power you already possess. If you're ready to take the next step in uncovering your own magnificence, schedule an illumination call at patricialindner.com. Make sure to subscribe to the show and join us next time as we continue exploring practical ways to unlock your natural brilliance. Until then, trust that your magnificence is already within you, ready to shine through.